Ouais. Okay, so is this working? Wow. Yeah. Forgot to set up chat. That would actually be helpful, right? No. Okay, so that's good. That's good. That's good. I dropped some stuff on the floor and it's sort of really hard to remove. I think it's the watercolor molding medium I use. Okay, I'm here. Yes, this is my lovely tea. It's Pickwick cinnamon tea. And look at my new awesome coaster. Dinosaurs! Yay! So let's put that over there. Yes, I've been molding, though not... I've been using the slab to make mica paints, and I don't really like to mold those with the muller because it sort of takes away the sparkly. So I use the back of my slab to mix micas when I prepare micas. Whew, sorry, I don't know why I'm so late today. I guess I don't know why on Saturday, like, time goes by super fast and like I'm trying to get stuff done, and then I look at the clock and it's like 1:30 p.m. and I'm like, yikes, we gotta eat something quick. And then come over here. My paper is full of sparkles, which is kind of cool. Yeah, and I've also been, I don't know, it's not gonna show well, but this is the zirconium I've been trying to clean up a bit. This might only be relevant to Otto. To Otto because we've been talking about this, but yeah, I still need to mold this one. And yeah, okay. It's a bit of a mess on my desk, but it doesn't show on camera, so I guess that's okay. I'm gonna grab this thing here that I've been... Oh, I should really remove the notification that I'm... Where is it? Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I've been molding, like, these are the sparkly colors I've been molding mostly. This piece of rubbish paper, but there's a kind of a green here, silver, copper, pale gold. There's a pearlescent white, and these two are not recent, but it's when I tried to make holo paint. I wanted to see if it worked after a few months of just being there. The sign should be done by now. There's always like a huge delay, like easily 30 seconds to a minute, which is kind of insane, but yeah. This unassuming binder is the one I've started using to make projects. It's been working really well. I got some pseudo secret stuff in there, but I just keep the this is the auto auto pen I've been using. Yeah, so I don't know why, but it's been really helpful to like work paintings in this. Like I can, besides this, I have the finished one, but see, this is the one I did with the cat camouflaged in the greenery, which I finished this week. And yeah, it's kind of helpful. I don't know why, but it's been really helpful to me to have like these unassuming sheets that I can doodle on. This is like super thick binder paper. Like this is the B paper. This is my printed sketch, so I can sort of keep every part of a project together. And after the tab, it's the finished project. So this is the drawing you saw me also draw last week of these characters. So that's finished too, so I can put it in there. And yeah, it's the remember I told you about the Auto pen. The brand is OHTO, so it's the Auto pen. Sorry, it's made in Japan, so it's definitely on topic. And yeah, on this side I got like plenty of spare sheets, and this is the one I cannot really show. Yeah, but see, I've got like this other project that I just decided because I had like these samples of paper that I wanted to draw something on, and just having, I don't know why, but having this space for this, it really helps me figure out what I want to do with the stuff. So it's probably kind of blurry anyway because my camera is really lousy, so I apologize. But see, this is another idea that I have, and I made some watercolor tests, and I can just like pile everything up in there, and if I need like another sheet, I can just like go further and bring it in, and I can start a new one here like today. Like if I want to do like sushi, cat sushi, not cat sushi per se, but yeah, so I can just have this and just start on it, and it's kind of been, I don't know why it works better than just working in the sketchbook, because I use my sketchbooks all the time as well, but I guess this feels more like a bit like an assignment that I gotta do, so I feel more more driven to make it happen, I guess. Like the hold on. Where's the other piece of paper? Oh, it's there. Just to expand a bit more on this again. If I'm rambling too much, you tell me, but I had this little set of papers from Jackson's, the handmade Two Rivers paper, and I had this sample set that had 3 papers, these 3. And I sort of started sketching like something that was similar to the format, and it kind of led me to an idea, and then I started drawing it on it, and it felt like more it feels more casual. Not exactly, it feels less casual. That's the thing. My sketchbook is like super duper casual, but this feels more like every element is separate from the others, so I can go like, oh, I gotta, like on the days I'm less focused, I can just grab this binder and leaf through it and see, oh yeah, I wanted to draw this, I wanted to draw that, where is this project at? Oh, I remember I sketched this on the paper, or I need to print the thing. And so yeah, so I still have one sheet of paper in there that I gotta doodle something on, and then I will like erase the sketch and add some watercolors to test them out. So it's just an example. So I think it's hey Heather, oh, I forgot to say hi to everyone. I'm so sorry. I've been so so running around so much. So I want to say hi to Trails TM. I'm sure you told me your name, but I forgot. I'm so sorry. But hi Temple and Otto, and I saw that Jacqueline is there, and Sukabu and Heather and Dan. Hi guys, how are you? I should have snagged some of my sushi cookbooks. Oh, I ate some yesterday, so I guess the it's not far enough that I need a good reminder of how to draw something like a sushi roll. Do you guys prefer the rolls with the nori on the outside, or do you prefer the nigiri ones with, you know, the slab of fish, slice of fish? It's not exactly a slab, it's more refined than that, but you have the fish on top and then the rice at the bottom. It's very lumpy. Rice, not that lumpy usually. Yeah, you need a sushi mat to make well, these, but you don't need a sushi mat to make these. You also need like a super fancy, hot, awesome knife if you want to cut the raw fish properly. But when I make sushi at home, I don't buy raw fish because I don't really trust my options for raw fish. I usually get either smoked fish or smoked fish. Yeah, that's about it. Sometimes canned fish, but it's not my favorite. Yeah, that's right. You also have the one with the rice on the outside, but in a roll. Like this, and the nori is on the inside. Oh no! Well, you could have sushi with veggies only. Or I've seen sushi with cooked chicken in it too. So that's an option, but there are bound to be some contamination. So if you're really allergic, you would have to make them yourself. Oh yeah, temaki with that's the like the cone ones, right? They're a bit like this, and then you have like the rice at the bottom and like fish, and they often put like sprouts and super fun stuff in those. I've never had those because they just look a bit messy to eat, and I don't know why, but it's really hard to find small sushi pieces. Like, I don't have a huge mouth. So I try to gravitate towards the smaller ones that you don't have to, you know, take 2 or 3 bites out of to eat them. But it's not that easy to find. So, hey, I managed to put paint on my eraser. Awesome. Sparkly paint too. Ta-da! So yeah, so a temari looks really nice, but it also looks like a messy thing to eat. A bit like the end of a Subway sandwich. Did I say temari? No, I said temaki, right? I think temari is a character in Naruto. Super easy to eat, not messy at all. Oh, I'll have to try them though. Then, because this is definitely a lot less time of preparation than all of these. Sorry, slurping my tea because it's hot. What about sushi pizza then? Oh, takoyaki. Temari, yeah, it's a bouncing ball, but they also have temari sushi, right? Well, they have them around here. I don't know how fusion it is, but they make like a ball of either. Sometimes it's fried, sometimes it's just rice, and they put like a piece of fish on it. And I think that inside of the rice ball, either you have furikake in the rice, or you have like something special at the center of the ball. Okay, so that's a lot of sushi, but not a lot of cats. It's been done a lot, so I'm not so sure where I want to start with this. Oh, in other news. Oh, hello, cat. Yes, yes, rounded sushi. You make it in well, like onigiri, right? Oop. There. Yeah, speaking of cats, Peko has been a bit weird lately. Like she's basically her usual self, but let's say we have Peko the cat here, like really hastily drawn. And Peko is the kind of cat that would always have her tail like whoop, like an antenna. So this is Peko the cat. There. But ever since yesterday, her cat's been drooping. Her tail's been drooping like that. And even when she's happy, the best it does is like rise a bit and then droops again. Whoop! So, we don't really know what's up with that. Maybe she hurt herself, but we can sort of prod at her tail and she doesn't react. But she might also be constipated, I think. So, that's a new thing. That's a new cat thing that I didn't know cat could do. And people say that you should get a cat because it's really easy to take care of them. And I'm like, yes, of course. Cat. So I'm basically working out ideas in this, and once I've settled on a couple of things that I think are funny or are worth expanding, then I would take out the watercolor paper, and like you have molds to make all sorts of shapes and rice, so I don't feel like this is enough of a spin on the idea. I've seen it done often where you have like a cat. Let's assume that this is a white cat, and then it has a piece of fish on its back, and it's like sushi cat. But yeah, I've seen it done a lot, or just in oh, the rice ball has a cat face. Exactly, it's a good. Oh yeah, have our cat after a triple digit yikes. Vet bill after he got bit by some animal, then say it's easy. Yeah. Oh no. Are Jack and Ziddy their cats too, or their dogs? Sushi master cutie, sushi chef cats. Yeah, I could try, but I'm a bit worried to make it how can I say this? Culturally inappropriate. Like yeah, well the go back around to Peko. Yeah, she's a bit she really looks like she's constipated, so I really hope that's the issue. But instead of like being like if she's kind of a bit like compressed a bit when she's just standing there, and her tail is drooping, like is limp, and it doesn't hurt when we sort of touch her tail or lift it or whatever, and I can still like pick her up and she doesn't complain. But yeah, she's it's so weird because this cat would always like at the simplest opportunity have her tail like an antenna, and it's super noticeable that she's not doing that at the moment. And also she has a bit of a hard time finding a comfortable position to sit down. Like she will start sitting down and then she will change her tail from side to side and possibly never sit and just move to another spot and start that again. Oh, so Jack and Zeddy are cats. Oh, shots. I hope they didn't have to have their temperature taken, because I think that's the one that they like the least. Nail clipping is usually pretty simple. Yeah, cats are not exactly an investment. They're a bit like a car. They start losing value the moment you take them out of the shelter. They gain more emotional value, but yeah, you cannot expect to have a cat and have it not make huge dents in your budget at times. But same for most pets, mind you. But yeah, maybe a pinched nerve. Yes, that's good. That could be the thing. But it's, I mean, she doesn't yelp. I mean, cats are super awesome at hiding pain and stuff like that, so it's a bit hard to tell. But I really don't feel like bringing her to the vet yet. Every time we go to the vet with Peko, it's always something that ends up healing on its own, but it still costs us like a disgusting amount of money just to bring her over there. So if it's a chef, they need to have a little hat on their head, right? It's sort of continuing the cat with jobs theme. This one is a sushi chef. But, I mean, sushi chef. How can I? That's a weird noise. Huh. Hey, Kirsten, hi. Oh, yeah, really? Oh. Well, no clipping, we have to be the two of us, like Mr. E and me, if you want to clip the nails of the cats, because one holds the cat and the other one will clip the nails. Oh, really? Why is that? Otto says that sushi chefs, the human ones, always have the most beautiful hands. Yeah, I hope Peko gets better soon, and I hope she gets better on her own, because it's a cat. I mean, well, same for most animals, but you can't really ask. I can't ask Peko like, "Oh, what's wrong? Where does it hurt? Is it hurting? Are you just constipated? Like, what's going on?" I think we're gonna buy some. If I don't forget, I want to buy some pumpkin later, because that's a thing you can give to your cats, like just canned pumpkin, not canned pumpkin pie, just pumpkin, and it's basically pumpkin puree, and they both like it. And if your cats like it, you can give it to them, and it's just a source of fiber, and it can help with fur balls and possibly constipation. Okay, I will. Heather says that if she will let you feel her belly, you might be able to feel a hardness if she's constipated. By gently moving her belly around, it might stimulate peristalsis. Also, activity helps the gut move. Noted. I will try that after the stream, definitely. The thing is that what can I make this cat do that would be like a good example of a good representation of being a sushi chef, if you know what I mean. You're bound to have like fur in your sushi if it's a cat that makes it. I mean, they have furry paws. Maybe this should be like a hairless kitty, but those are really hard to draw in a cute way. Yeah, I agree, Temple. Temple says that that's one of the worst parts about being Kiki parents, well, cat parents, can get an answer about what is wrong. Yeah. Okay, let's see, do I remember how to draw a hairless cat that's cute and just not weird? I mean, it doesn't help that they are weird to begin with, but yeah. They're all wrinkly. They got no fluff to hide all the stuff. Cutting a tuna in half with those massive sword-sized knives. Yikes! I haven't watched Peko P. It's more noticeable when she goes to do her number twos, and I've really noticed that they are fairly consistent with the constipation situation. Hey, this is a fun live stream. Let's talk about cat poop and sushi. I mean, I don't mind, and hopefully that's not too extreme for YouTube's censor stuff, but yeah, I will try and gently massage her belly after. Feeling the abdomen makes the gut increase. Oh, really? Huh. Hey, Lena, hi. Hey, Mary Kay, I don't think I said hi. Zukabu says, I had a cat. I had a black cat called Luna a few years back, and a few times a week she'd come up to me for belly rubs to loosen things up. That's funny. It's the norm, right? Yeah, maybe then. I'm not sure. Sorry. I mean, if I were to draw like a large tuna in the proper size relation with a cat, I think it would be much bigger than a cat. Probably take a cat chainsaw to chop it off. dead fish. Yeah, we're all about cats and sushi and constipated cats today. But I mean, I've had a cat for well, I've had these cats for quite some time, and I had cats when I was younger, and it seems like everything happened for a first time with these two. And like Pico was my first cat that had a stomach bug, and we really didn't know what to do with it, so we brought her to the vet, and it was ultimately not really useful. It was reassuring in a way, but it wasn't what helped her get better. And then I had a cat that had food allergies, and this time it's Scout, and I'm just realizing now that the cat I had as a kid was either I didn't notice any of this stuff, and my parents, they were not so much inclined to bring the cat to the vet often, if at all, or he was a really easygoing cat, you know? No issues, no problem, just doing his cat things. He would be, he would like perhaps throw up often, even for a cat, but yeah, I can easily see why that might have happened, but you know, that's still fairly simple. Yeah, we had the Nuticles discussion, so. Oh, that's cute. Heather says, another crazy idea, a bunch of kitties fishing from a pier. The adults have tiny fish that they caught, but a kitten is pulling in a massive catch. I will write it down. It's a really cute idea. Speaking of kittens, is anyone keeping track of the Kitten Academy live stream? Because the kittens are getting so big and they're so funny. There's like 8 of them. Poor mom is getting swamped in large kittens now. So I'm aiming toward these 2 ideas so far. So we have a cat cutting a big fish with a ridiculously large knife, because why not? And this one would be more like the chef. It would be a hairless cat rolling out, finishing up a sushi roll. Oh yes, there are little cats now. They can it's so cute because they can make into like tiny loaves. They're like kittens, so they have like the huge kitten head with the ears, but they make tiny loaves now, like teeny tiny cat loaves and teeny tiny cat croissants, or croissant if I don't get mixed up in my stuff. But like they're so tiny and so cute and have such big heads. Oh no, they're offline right now. Oh no. They've been having a bit of issues with their ISP. Hmm. Their cat eating the sushis afterwards. Cat bread. Yeah, I should do cat bread next time. See, that's something I can also write down. Oh yeah, I got an empty page there. Cat breads. Yay! Ideas. Yeah, the Kitten Academy, there's like 8 kittens right now, and they're all from the same mom. And 4 of them are ginger kittens, and they all look really similar. Like, it's really hard to tell them apart, to the point that they've been using food coloring to make spots on the cats to help tell them apart. The other 4 are fairly different. But yeah, the 4 ginger cats, they're really, really, really the same cat. They're also like the big ones, so you cannot even have, oh, this is the smaller ginger, so it's this one. It's like, they're all the chunky ones. Yeah, I call it the cat donut. Also, it really depends, because cats, you can have really like a more croissant shape, like if they're a bit just like a bit loose in their positioning, but you can also have like the full strength donut. It's basically like that, like you have a head somewhere and legs somewhere and a tail in there, and sometimes like a tiny bit of an ear that pops out, but that's basically a donut. Kitten bun, yes. Loaf, yes. There is one that we call the I'm sorry, Otto, but we call it the slug. It's basically the loaf, but like all the paws are under the cat and the tail is under the cat, and just have the head and the ears. So it's not too much unlike a slug, you know. So I call it the kitten slug. Also, slug in French is a much cuter word. It's limace. But yeah. Ah, that is so cool, Kaboo. That your mom and you are thinking of fostering a couple of shelter kittens. That's so nice. Hey, Alexandra. Hi. Hi, Chatfell. Armadillo is also pretty spot on. Yeah, well, sometimes Pico does the slug inside of her, the smaller of the cat carrier we have. So we call it the snail. And snail in French is escargot. and so we call it the pescargot, which is you know, a contraction of peco and escargot. But she will look like, you know, like, then you have the carrier. So it's basically, there's just like her front coming out of it, so it's sort of like a snail. Anyway, cat. Heather says I can't foster. I'm not good at giving them back. I can totally see that. I don't think I would be any good at giving them back either. I might have to go help with the laundry, so just give me a sec. I'll be right back. And I will also grab some watercolor paper so I can get started on the drawings. Okay, sorry, I'm back. I am back. Oh yeah, hen. Yeah. Because we are a bit silly, we call it the pollo. We say that peco is in pollo position, which is basically chicken position. When she does the loaf. Oh, thanks for all the link, Otto. That's pretty awesome. No, it was not a code brown, it was a code laundry. Both cats are fast asleep. So yeah, I grabbed the Cézanne Hahnemühle paper, watercolor paper. 300 GSM, 140 grams, 140 pounds. Yeah. Cotton. Yeah, 100% cotton. Is sound back on? Is sound fine? Hey, Paulo! Yeah, code brown happens a bit more often. Just doesn't happen too often on the live streams, which I'll take. You know, I won't complain about that. Oh, your place. Oh no, Heather, I'm so sorry. Where is there it is. I don't really like to draw on blocks. Well, for large paper, I don't know why. Code brown, well, it's usually a cat. Because cats, they are really, really clean animals, but they don't always have the best luck in the litter box. So sometimes there is either a case of cleaning up after them, or a case of cleaning up the litter box because they are silly creatures that don't bury their business in the litter box, so it stinks. I'm just gonna keep this sheet for now. Yeah, usually. Keyword here being usually. Oh, that was an easy one to clean up, Heather. Sorry about the noise. Of course, stuff always falls down. Of course. Okay, paper. Some kitty didn't cover up. Yeah, that's usually what happens. And you really cannot let that stay there, because it's really foul. It's not even a strong word for it. It's just, you know, what it is. It stinks. All this processed protein when it comes out, it's not awesome. The Chatfield, that's, am I saying your name properly? But yeah, that's not ideal. Yikes. Oh, it lingers so much. Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry. A cat full? Is that how we're supposed to say it? Because I will try to remember that. Hey, April, hi. Gosh, my hands are a mess. It's starting to be cold enough that my hands are all crackly and dry and just annoying because they snag into everything. I'll make a video about the pronunciation. Yeah. I will watch it because I really want to, at least, you know, that if I pronounce it badly, it's like my fault. It's not because I don't know any better. A shot fell, like a cat fell, Eee! And then landed on its legs because they can do that. Let's keep it cheerful and happy. Okay, so there is something a bit more perhaps serious I wanted to talk about a bit because I've been experiencing and thinking about stuff, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it. So as you may have noticed, it's been a bit more difficult to have regular videos posted on the channel. Like for example, this week I posted the grand total of no videos. Yikes! It's not great from a YouTube point of view, like the stats and all that stuff. But that's perhaps the most like obscure element of it for you guys, unless you also have a channel. So basically what happened is that I started the week, instead of making videos, I finished a painting for the Patreon print that I am working on. And it made me realize quite efficiently that it's pretty difficult to be creative and also make videos that are not like somehow covering the same space, if that makes sense. Yeah, well, there's at least this live stream, so there's at least this video, but I didn't have time to like finish any of the videos I was working on, be it write the commentary or record it or edit the video. Like I have about 4 videos that are filmed, but none of them are ready to be posted because I have still a lot of work to do on them. And it's kind of difficult because there is a finite amount of time in a week, and I don't really know how to work around this and possibly keep bringing more videos. I was talking about this with Otto, and she suggested that vlogs could be a way to have time where you actually paint stuff. Well, one, and I say when you, but I mean any artist can actually paint stuff and also have content for video. But I've never had any vlogs on this channel, and I'm a bit unsure about them, in the sense that I don't really have a fancy apartment, I don't have a fancy camera for filming. Like I feel like if I use the vlogs I've watched as reference, I'm not exactly set up to make interesting vlogs. So I really don't know about that, but I'm keeping the idea there. I mean, it's a good idea. I just don't know if I can make it happen. So yeah, and there's the other thing that I was, taking into consideration is the fact that if one spends time making a video, we don't necessarily make videos to have views on them, but at the same time it's kind of pointless to spend so much time on a video that will not get any views, because that's time that could be spent on something else. And as people who try to be like their own boss, make a living on what they do, basically my whole point is that, is it worth it, the time to make these videos, or is it not? Because ultimately I don't want to spend too much time on stuff that will be pointless. Hey Geckonia, hi. I wish I could time travel. Oh my gosh. Sorry. We have a running joke of fairy lights, succulents, the plants, and candles. Not that these things are necessarily bad, just that they are very common in vlog videos, so we had a joke about that A running blag. A running blag. Nice, nice Franglish. A running joke. A blag is a joke in French. A running blag. What? What am I talking about? Yeah, long story short, I'm trying to think of ways to still have videos because, I mean, I kind of like making videos anyway, but there's sometimes when I do reviews and when I do that sort of stuff, there's a lot of the kind of a routine, you know, it's always a bit of the same stuff that I end up having to write about and research and do and film. So I was trying to see, I posted some speed paints in the past, but they were really, really not interesting on their own to be worth spending so much time making them again. So I'm just trying to think of something that perhaps would help me have more time to actually do things that I can then turn into prints or, you know, make a portfolio for myself so that I can bring this to a different level than just doing reviews. Not that reviews are bad. I really enjoy doing reviews, which is why I do them, but I've been, 2 years on YouTube by now, and as much as reviews are useful and I enjoy doing them and watching them, they are not enough to make this, you know, a steady thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but I mean, I've been doing this for you know, a respectable amount of time, and this is definitely not enough to make this channel float, or to make me float. The channel is fine, but I'm the one whose buoy is sort of, it's a bit like I have this inflated buoy. Is that the word? Anyway, buoy. I hate that word, okay? Look at this. If you read that, you read buoy, right? No, it said buoy. Do you know how we spell buoy in French? That's a buoy. That's, you read that and you read buoy. Buoy, ultimately. Why? What the heck? What is this? Why? I hate this word. Buoy, okay? This is a buoy. But anyway, mine has a tiny pink prick in it and it's being sort of leaking air. And it's getting a bit, you know, like not as floaty as it was when I started. So I'm trying to find ways to make this stuff more sustainable. Okay, Christine, that's interesting. That's an interesting point. Christine says, Eve, I think you underestimate how interested people are in your life. You have, 1, you have cats. 2, you're a talented artist. No, you really are. Well, thank you so much. 3, we're all a bit voyeuristic here on YouTube. Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I don't want to show you guys my like super nasty floor. Not because it's not clean, just because it's really old linoleum and it's kind of not pretty. Like most of the vlogs we see, like people have these at least, you know, presentable spaces. Mine is a bit of a, like I struggle to find the prettiness in it. Let's just say it that way. But I will try to think of something, definitely. I'm not, you know, giving up, but it's a bit more of a puzzle than if I had this super nice, modern, presentable space with a really minimalistic aesthetic, which is really not my jam at the moment. Don't forget crystals. But I have cats though. I could put my cat shrine, which is full of cats. I guess that's fine. Oh, Christine has more points. 4, you have an awesome sense of humor. Well, thank you. Vlogs are something just like art you can get better at. That's a very good point. Ah, Lena, thank you so much. That is precious. People who enjoy speed paints, there are not that many of them. Yeah, making paints would be awesome. It's a bit of a weird thing to record because it's I don't know, we have Dan and Otto in the chat that also makes paints, but I know that for me it's a bit on and off. Like I will mold and then I have to test the paint. So while the paint is sort of drying so I can test it, sometimes I will mill some more, but sometimes I will also take a break because mulling is really repetitive on the arm, the arm. So it's kind of difficult to have a nicely connected video. It would have to be, I would have to edit like to make this more interesting because it's not a continuous thing for me. It's on and off. So I often mull and then have a separate task, like work on a video at the same time. So when I wait for my swatch to dry, I go work a bit on the video and then I come back, I test it. Depending on how it works or not, I keep mulling or add some stuff and mull again, or I pot it and I start a new batch, you know. Boy! My least favorite word for pronunciation is K. How is that key? Hey, excellent question. Is that Quay? No, I mean key, but is that for like a pier? Is that the thing where you have boats tied to? I'm so short, people are gonna see the floor if I record myself. I'm kidding. But it's just, it's difficult. Like I have, even the walls are like, the previous tenants here, even if you painted the walls white, most of it, we have like stuff everywhere. There's not a space of like clean wall that I could possibly. Anyway, I just need to figure this out. I'm pretty sure there's a way to figure it out, but it's just not obvious. I cannot just say, hey, I'm gonna set up lights and a camera in my super pretty office and film myself there. This is not gonna happen. Not as it is right now. But yeah, just quickly, this, in the same way as this is like bouée, is this like quai in French? Like the spot where you tie up your boats? A bit like a pier. Anyway. Sorry. Heather says, just be you, enjoying your art while going about your day, and let us fulfill our voyeuristic desires. I could possibly have vlogs that have parts in black and white if the visual is like too disruptive, like not enough cohesive visually. I don't understand how people have nice places. What is nice places? Hey, Stephen. Oh, April, I'm sorry, did you ask your question before and I sort of missed it? Question, when you make paint, is there a reason to add more medium gum arabic versus distilled water? Is there a point when you have too much gum arabic? Yes and yes. Is there a reason to add more medium gum arabic versus distilled water? If you have a dry swatch of paint, like you test your paint and you let it dry and then you take a clean tissue and you rub on it. Just, you know, not particularly strongly, just rubbing on it. And if the color picks up on the clean tissue, it means you need more binder to bind the pigment to the paper. So that's when you had more gum arabic medium. If you test it and the pigment doesn't rub off, it stays on the paper, and your paint is still too thick, then you can add a bit more distilled water to make it easier to handle. That would be like the situation where I would use either more medium or more water. And there's a point when you have too much gum arabic is when you swatch the paint, let it dry, and the swatch is shiny. If there's a sheen to your swatch, it means you have too much gum arabic in it. or too much binder. Oh, that's pretty awesome. Chat Phil. I feel awkward saying your name now. See, I do the thing where I keep messing up my fingers. Both this. I'm not sure if cannot be the only person who makes that test, but basically it's when you make handmade paints and you want to see if they're ready or if they're mixed enough or mold enough or have enough binders. You just sample your fresh paint on the slab and you paint the swatch on a piece of paper, you let it dry, and then you take a piece of clean tissue, you rub it on it, and if any pigments transfer to the tissue, it means you need more binder in your paint. That's basically what this is about. Really slow today, sorry guys. I'm talking and drawing and doing a zillion stuff at the same time, like I always end up doing. Question: I do the binder test and always try to get the right amount in, but when my paint dries, it has the texture of gummy candy and not dried paint. Do you know for any reason or fix? Perhaps you put in too much honey. That could be the thing. Also, not all pigments react the same way in the mixture. Yeah, some pigments, they will really tend to dry much drier than others. Good example is ultramarine blue, who really sometimes like to dry as a hard nugget. But yeah, some pigments will be more soft than others when you finish preparing them. So that's the thing. But then again, it's not exactly all the gummy candy level. So maybe you put a bit too much binder, a bit too much honey. Sorry, not binder, honey in it. You really don't need a lot of honey in your paints. Really not a lot. Well, in the way I make them. I mean, Otto and Dan are in the chat, so they can add in their opinions of the situation. So should I ink this with the brush pen or with the carbon platinum fountain pen? Also, a good tip for drying paints is to do it the way, I'm sorry, hiccup, to do like Schminke does, and instead of filling the paint on the first pour, you just put like a third of the pan in, and you let that dry completely before adding more on top. it tends to dry better that way, because if you have a full pan of fresh paint, it's going to take forever to dry because it needs to go all the way to the bottom of the paint, and the pans are plastic, so there is no air exchange that goes on through the pans, so it takes a lot longer to dry than if you pour it in layers. You can also keep your extra mold paint in small jars like this one. This one I have a pearlescent paint in there, so I just keep it in there and I can refill my pans. I haven't made any conclusion about my future schedule yet, but I'm really happy to see that you guys are not absolutely against the idea of vlogs, even if they are a bit ratchet. Oh, I love when cats lick their toes, because it really goes like you have the cute little paws and then suddenly it's like blah! All the toes are spread out. Sorry about the noise, but all the toes are spread out and they're like stretched out and you're like, what? How can the cute little fuzzy paw become this like alien type thing? Sorry. Well, you've tried my paints. I think I put a lot of... Yeah, I agree. I think you put a fairly good amount of honey in yours, because the like some of them are still really soft, a bit like sennelier. So honey sennelier, same thing. But yeah, I love them. I'm so excited. I've recorded the video, but I haven't had the time to sit down and sort out my thoughts. I got my platinum. Yay! Did you try it yet? Oh, that's pretty cool. Rotring pens are pretty awesome. Question: what is the purpose of honey and glycerin? Yeah, Otto said it makes them easier to wet. Honey is awesome in that it helps preserve the paints as well, because honey is one of those foods that cannot go bad just from the nature of it. So honey in the paints helps with the preservation, and it also helps keeping them easier to wet. I don't like to use glycerin. It's just a personal choice. I don't like the feel of glycerin, so it feels hicky to put it. It feels like greasy, and I'm like, I don't want to put anything greasy on my paper, even if it's not actually greasy. I just don't like the feeling of glycerin. Can I ask an honest question? Some people feel that paints cracking when drawing in the palette is an issue, whereas I don't see it as an issue. Am I missing something? I can only speak for myself. I don't have any issue with it, but I find it annoying if it's in a palette that I'm gonna carry, because it means that there's gonna be bits of colors all over the place. That's the only thing I'm like super annoyed about. Another question: are pearlescent paints mold or processed the same way as regular paints? Not necessarily. It really depends on your pigment, like what do you use. Personally, I have never felt the need to mold these paints extensively with the molar. Sometimes, most times actually, I will prepare my recipe, and when I mix it with the palette knife, it's already super nicely blended. There is no what's the word am I looking for? But it's super smooth, no issues. It's all well mixed together. So I will like take the time to mix it extensively with the spatula, but I feel like if I bring the molar to this, it's gonna reduce the size of the particle way too small, and it's gonna lose the shininess of it. So that's why. But it might depend on your pigment. So there's always that caveat. Honey is forever. Honey is awesome. I cannot believe that through nature and like their own internal science, bees can transform stuff into honey. I think that's pretty epic. The cracking in the paint only matters in extreme amounts. The cheap watercolors that most beginners have crack into so many pieces that it's difficult, yeah. Oh, Renaissance pigments, that sounds awesome. Though the paints are already so good that might not be necessary to play much with their pigments. Bee vomit, yeah. But I mean, I was thinking about it, and like there are many natural sources of sugar, but is honey truly the only one that doesn't need any refining? Like it needs to be filtered, but that's not exactly the same thing as refining something. Like if you take maple syrup, you have to boil the sap down a lot in order to get it sweet enough. Honey, it's there. You can, well, let's assume that it's an abandoned hive, freshly abandoned, but you can crack it open and the honey is gonna be there, ready to use. You don't have to do anything. So I was trying to think of, is there any other source of sweetness that doesn't need to be boiled down or extracted or refined or anything? Good one, Paulo. Question: I recently got some pots of pigments from my mother-in-law. Caput mortuum, umbers, and siennas, about 9 different earth pigments. Is it necessary to mold them in order to make paints, or could I just try mixing them with liquid gum arabic and honey? You could try, but you might have a lumpy mixture because these colors depends still. Like caput mortuum, I think can really vary, but they are often quite easy to mold, but you will really get the best result if you mold them. You can probably put together like a cheap molder, like what I used when I made my videos. You know, the spice jar with the glass marble at the bottom, super basic thing. I'm pretty sure you could use that and mold your paints a bit, like make small batches and use them that way. But I would really, I would recommend not molding them because I think it would make for possibly super lumpy. Maybe not, but yeah. It might be easy to mold with a makeshift molder since these are usually easy to use pigments. Oh yeah, pearlescent pigments. Really try to. You don't need that much binder for those, so really be careful about your proportions when you start. But they are fairly easy to mold. You don't really need a molar. You can just try with the spatula first and see how that works. Wow, cool. Tsukaboo says all our old family friends have beekeepers in their family, and it's so fascinating. We got a jar of fresh from the hive a few years back and are still working from it. This is What is this fish? This is a whatever fish. That's okay. It's not like you have actual cats who make sushi, so I think I could get away with a bit of fantasy here. It's a fantasy fish. Because I don't know how to draw real fish. Yeah, try the makeshift molar. You can see from my video, it cost nothing to do. It was just stuff I had around that I quickly put together. And it worked. I mean, I was able to mold really small batches of stuff. So if that's your end goal, I would recommend perhaps just taking a quick look at those videos again and trying to think if there's anything you can use already, either from your place or from a place like the dollar store. Sometimes they have the glass marbles at the dollar store and you can just grab a bag for like a couple of bucks and you're set for makeshift molars for life. Oh no, don't die, Paulo. Are you killing? You are killing me. I'm not killing you. No. Yeah, I've seen people use like paperweights. Basically, you need something with like something with a flat surface that you can use another item with a flat-ish surface and grind the two together. Well, not exactly grind the two. You will have the mixture in between, but you know, something that will offer a good amount of friction, so that you can flatten away all the clumps in the mix. This is a really nice brush pen as well. Like these two are my favorite inking supplies that are super easy to grab and just go with. I still really like the Kakunos I have, the fountain pens, but when they're out of ink and you gotta manually refill them with waterproof ink, and that's a bit that's just something that sometimes you don't always have the time to do right away. But these two, they are sold with cartridges of waterproof ink, so it's really easy to just change the cartridge and keep going. Question regarding pearlescent pigment. Is there a difference between soap making cheaper pearlescent pigments versus more expensive one like crema cells? Does light fastness matter with pearlescent? I haven't tried the crema ones. I think Otto has, and she can possibly inform you better on them, but from what I gathered, they seem really difficult to use. I've been using either... I've stored them away. They're quite not reachable at the moment, but I've been using either... Sometimes I've been using like more bath soap making micas, cosmetic micas, and I've had good results. And I've also bought some micas from places like Kama Pigment or other local art shop, and I've had good results with those as well. but I haven't tried the creamer ones. Christine, yeah, I remember that video from Maury. I think his ratios are a bit off because from what I remember, the paint is kind of has a sheen on it, so that means possibly too much gum arabic in it. But in itself, the idea is not a bad idea. It's just that it, from what I remember, it could have used a bit more mulling and perhaps a bit less gum arabic. But at least he went with burnt sienna, I think, which is still kind of an easy to like, it's not one of the phthalates or naphthals or all those nightmare pigments. One thing you realize when you start making your own paints is that some pigments are a pain in the butt to work with. And it makes you really appreciate the kind of work that goes into industrially making these paints. Either in the sense that they need to get awesome machines to do it, or the fact that it's not something you can just like quickly like make happen. There needs to be kind of like a recipe, that there's a method of making this pigment work, because on its own it's disgustingly not non-collaborative. Pain in the ass, truly. I'm thinking of colors like phthalo green, naphthol red, Hansa yellows, phthalo blue, the pain in the ass pigments. Prussian blue is also really annoying. Indigo is annoying. Well, in my book anyway. If you have a different experience of these pigments, more power to you. Also, a good tip that I learned from the store, the Kama pigment store. Oh, I need to catch up on chat. I will give my tip after I've caught up on chat. Suspense. I haven't done any duochrome yet. Oh, well, I've done a few, but not for sale yet. But I have the pigments, and I'm gonna perhaps bring them on soon. Hey, Grace! Sorry. Keep having hiccups. Yeah. Not necessarily the hydrophobic ones, but it doesn't help. Sushi Cat on the left is having the shining moment with that knife. Yeah, indigo is a pain in the butt. I think the easiest I found were the pearlescent ones. Indigo is bad because it's really clumpy, and it takes a lot of like mulling. It's not big clumps that you can easily mull out. It's tiny clusters of pigment, and you have to really work at it. And there's a, I don't remember, I haven't mulled it in a while. Mine doesn't smell that bad though. The one I got was, it had a bit, it smelled a bit like a, you know, like something like wet dog. It had a really organic smell, but it's genuine indigo, so not a surprise. But a good tip I've read, back to the tip, on the Kama pigment website is that there are two types of pigments, and I am not super good at remembering the exact terms of each type, but one of them will be easier to wet with rubbing alcohol, like 70% rubbing alcohol. And you just need to, what I do is I prepare my amount of pigment I want to mold, and I just add some distilled water, and I add a bit of alcohol in the water and my solution, and I gently mix everything, and it makes wetting the pigment much easier. All the pigments that you try to wet and they just float on top of the water, add a couple of drops of alcohol in the mix, and it's not going to change anything. I mean, rubbing alcohol is going to evaporate and that's it, but it's going to make molding so much easier. And yeah, I saw that tip on the Camo Pigment website that you can check if you want to watch a good tutorial on making gouache and watercolor. I love you guys' interpretation of the drawings. Speaking of duochrome, people use the word jewel tone a lot. At least I think that's what they are saying. It's different from duochrome, but what is it? I think it's just super intense shiny colors for jewel tone, but I haven't seen it used anywhere yet, so not quite sure. Hold on, I gotta go check out the laundry again. Back. Which pigment website? Oh, Kama Pigment. It's Kama, Kama, and pigments like pigments. I really like Camo Pigment. They are local for me. I think they might sell on their website outside of Canada, but they are in Montreal, so I can super easily either order from them or eventually get to the shop. Speaking of ordering, I saw that Canada Post is gonna possibly go on strike, which is a huge pain in the butt for just about everyone, I think. Just hope it gets resolved fast, because we are nearing the holiday season and it's not the time you want to have delays in post and transit and stuff. That's a good non-light fast triad, Paulo. Paulo says, okay, who's the first to do a non-light fast triad? My choice, Aureolin, Indigo, and Alizarin Crimson. Nice choices. I approve. Well, it's the postal postal office workers, like the postmen and the people who do I don't know what I'm talking about. Not in English though, but it's basically all the people who works at the Canada Post, and also I think it's also the same union as the EMT responders, like the guy in the words. I don't know, but I don't think it's the only. This union has many members, and part of them seem to be the post office and other the EMT. And I've seen the guys from the local alcohol stores as well. So yeah, I think they want what every worker in these kind of situation want, which is you know, better advantages and possibly to see their salary reflect more the cost of life and inflation and all that stuff. They've been threatening to go on strike for a bit now, but it's possibly gonna happen quite soon now. They're supposed to keep having some sort of service on a rotation kind of schedule or something, but yeah. Oh, see, that wasn't fully dry yet. This takes a bit of time to dry, so I will wait before I erase this one. See, there's a bit of a smudge there and here. Oopsie. It's the only flaw of these waterproof inks, is that they take a bit more time to dry, and I forgot to bring back some water to paint, because it's usually easier with water. Alright, sorry about Hey Bryn, how are you? It says it's pushing for improved job security and end to forced overtime and better health and safety measures. Well, I mean, I never really know. I don't follow this stuff much, but it's always kind of weird because I come from an industry that really doesn't have any of this stuff. I was working in animation. It's not exactly the same thought process behind if you want to have a job or not. I understand that unions are pretty useful in a lot of cases, but I've never worked under them. I saw my mom was a nurse, so she had the nurses kind of union thing going on. But yeah. So I completely agree that overtime sucks. I really hate overtime. I've never worked in a situation where overtime really made a difference, but I've had to work long hours at time to get some stuff done. But anyway, that's kind of different. I was always working on contracts, never really a full-time job. That was like, that didn't have an end in sight, you know? Like when you're hired for like 12 months, well, you know you're gonna work for 12 months. So yeah, you do the stuff you gotta do in those 12 months. I'm gonna make this one a ginger cat because I love ginger cats. Oh yeah, there was rumors of also being a strike of the bus drivers and subway drivers. That's a lot of strikes. Thanks for all the links, Otto and Grace. Imagine if YouTubers unionized. Oh, I wonder how that would pan out and if it would work just at all. Oh, that's so nice. Tsukabu. Tsukabu says that their dad worked at the same business for nearly 25 years, bread delivery, and when he was forced to retire just a couple of months prior to his initial retirements due to terminal illness, they gave him the party and watch anyways. I feel like that's the least. Like I would have been surprised and kind of sad if they hadn't done that. It feels like the you know, like the human thing to do. Oh, bye, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a lovely weekend. That is so cool. So cool. That's great. It's a really great memory. Thank you for sharing. I really love the sound of this ball. Oh, thank you so much, Bryn. Hey, welcome back, Heather. Oh, that's so cute. I think that perhaps the sort of tradition to give it a watch, maybe it's something that is sort of a leftover of previous years, you know, when there you can give, I'm just going to use this as an example, but say you can give someone an iPad as a gift because there were no such thing as iPads. So what could you give someone that would have value and that would be like a nice subject? Well, you would often have watch. Either like, you know, when you had pocket watches, like you could get a really fancy one. So perhaps that's why the gift of a watch is a tradition, not especially for its function of keeping the time, but just for the fact that it's a beautiful object. Oh no, Heather, why did you do that? No! Heather says I was buying some coffee in the hopes it would result in a little air breakage. Why do you want to break me so much? Ah, Heather, you're impossible. Never mind Kim Possible. I present to you Heather Impossible. What? Who's even gonna catch this Kim Possible reference? Not that I ever watched the show, but I know it's a thing that exists. Now I have to see what she sent. Do I have my... I don't have my phone nearby. Oh, why is it leaking all over the place? I am awful. Hi, welcome to this live stream where you'll see just how much of a terrible painter I am. Let's see the extent of the mess. Oh, Kofi really needs to remember that I'm logged in. Seriously. I think the worst for that is like Patreon. Hey, log in! Like, I was logged in 5 minutes ago, doofus. How does this work? Aww. Oh, you guys are way too kind. The coffee. Oh, thank you so much, Heather. I was having a thought, but it's gone now. You know, one of those pesky thoughts. I think at some point I'm gonna have to switch to gouache to see if it's less prone to making a mess when you work like two colors that are near one another when they're not perfectly dry yet, if you know what I mean, because that's what I always do and it always makes a huge mess and I'm like, blah. I didn't ask for this mess. Two women wrecking band. Or when you log into Facebook and it asks you if you wanted to remember this browser and you click yes for the 100th time. Yes. That's the one. That's the feeling. Are you guys like that in the sense that the more and more you have to sort of work against the website to get it set up, like password and all of that, the more absurd your password gets. Like I get really like that. It's gonna start like with this is my password, like 1 2 3. So I have like this in caps, and this is my password. I'm covering all the grounds, and then it says like, no, but you need at least this more and this and that, and it gets like to a really mean level that needs censorship. Like this stupid website's password, dumbass, and that's my new password for it. Ooh, M. Graham white gouache. Please, yes. Buy me! I'm an excellent gouache, and I come in really absurd, huge tubes. I love my absurdly huge watercolor tubes and gouache tubes. They make me feel safe. I look at them and I'm like, I'm not gonna miss on those colors anytime soon. This is a great feeling. What is up with the crazy name and spelling of gouache anyway? Well, it's in French. It's gouache. It's a French word, I think, and they just, picked up. Grace says, but how do you remember the password then? I write it down. I have a notebook with a bunch of passwords in it. I try to, keep track of them in there. But yeah, but it makes me laugh. Like when I look at all the passwords, I can tell which website made me lose my patience and which didn't. Because some passwords are really like, this is stupid, I'm tired. Oh. Has password beep. Yep. I have some of them that would have to be censored. Mind you, it's only like French Canadian swear words, so it's not exactly like outrageous, but it's still fairly rude, especially if you're from here. It's getting a bit late, so I hope you guys don't mind it so much. I can stop if you have other things to do. I think this is meant to be a fun thing, not a tedious one, you know? I was about to ask if you swear in French or English. I swear in French Canadian. I'm really proud of it, in the sense that I like that how culture has a really, really unique set of swear words that truly don't have matches anywhere else. Some people here will swear in English. Like the F word is, well, I think it's common everywhere in the world, but here is not an exception. but I much prefer to swear in French Canadian. Oh no. Yeah, I keep my passport notebook in really precise location. Otherwise, it's sort of pointless. Do all hairless cats have blue eyes? Is it like a Siamese cat? I love the Scottish swearing as well. It's very similar in its concept than French Canadian. It's also insanely colorful and hard to follow, so that's always good for a few laughs. I love when they collect tweets from Scottish people about like Trump or it's always stuff that when you read it you're like, well, there's nothing in there that is inherently offensive, but put together with this kind of intonation and anger behind it, that's A, really funny, and B, it is an insult. Hey Dan, guess what? My tea is cold. And I'm drinking it anyway. That one awkward guy says, here in Australia we use our swears as compliments sometimes. Yeah, we do that too here. And we use them as words. It's a bit like, you know, the Smurfs. They use Smurf as kind of everything. We do that too with our swear words. Sorry. Ugh. Ugh. I hope you don't pick up on all the swallowing sounds I make. drink my tea too fast and then I have the hiccups. So Lana says we weren't allowed to swear and our parents never did, but they had a friend who swore. So the friend once swore when visiting us and I was maybe 12. We told our parents to look for other friends. It's cute. Well, Otto says that she only swears in English in front of her mom because her mom doesn't really speak English, or that's what she lets on. But she totally knows I swore just from context because mothers. Well, I think not just mothers. I mean, if I were to swear in French Canadian, you would probably still be able to tell that this wasn't a nice thing I just said. Because I think that one of the points of swearing is like exteriorizing this feeling in a way that is sort of not gonna hurt anyone, but still, I mean, it's never, we don't often swear for good things, you know, like, hey, I'm so happy, I'm gonna swear. That can happen, but not that often, mind you. So yeah. Do you guys say swear like a sailor or swear like a trooper? We say swear like a sailor here. Right, so I think I'm mostly done with these. So do you guys have any more questions that you would want to ask before the end of this stream? Oops. Oh yikes, I've removed my... I cannot see what I'm doing. What am I doing? Oh. Oh yeah. Oops. Okay, hold on. That's better. Yeah, I'm sorry I was a bit late. It's always kind of a mess on the Saturdays. I don't know if I can... Like I said, my camera is kind of really crummy. It's kind of a... not awesome, but I will be posting these on Patreon and eventually on Instagram, Twitter as well. Might possibly draw a fourth one here since I have still a bit of space on my sheet. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for sticking around, and I know this one was a bit longer than usual, so extra thanks for that. And just to quickly recap, we used the binder method, binder, to sketch these, and it worked out pretty well because I could, you know, figure out my ideas on there and then draw them on there, and I didn't have to think and draw at the same time. I could just draw because all the thinking was done over here, so that worked out well. And yeah, I used Schmincke paints, Ultimo brush, and Hahnemühle Cezanne paper. So thanks a lot everyone. A great big thank you to Otto and Grace for being awesome mods, and I would encourage you to check out their stuff, especially Otto, because I don't think Grace has a YouTube channel. But if you want to learn more about paints, go check out Otto's channel or down below or in the chat. And also, oh wait, I almost forgot. Hold on, it's buried under all this stuff here. I have postcards. Guys, I have postcards. I've shown the one you sent me last week, April. I don't think you were there, so I think you missed it. But I got it, so thank you so much. Trying to see, I have others hidden under here, but... Oh yeah, I think I found it. Ta-da! Haha! Last minute postcards. So this is the one that April sent me from Maine. Lovely, beautiful Maine. And then I have one that Otto sent me from Glasgow. And okay, so I am not a Whovian, but if you are, this is most likely to trigger some sort of fangirly, fanboy reaction from you. It's a lovely card too. I love what they did with the lights on the... Like this here, this is pretty cool. And it's a good way to show perspective in a drawing. If you want to create a sense of space, you could do something like that. That's pretty cool. Okay, and the last one, which is the most recent one, is from Lana. And it's beautiful. Look at this. Look at how pretty that is. Look at this guy. It's so awesome. So yeah, these are the awesome 3 postcards that I got recently. And if you want to send one in, well, you can, because I have a PO box, and the address is in the description. Boop, boop. And you can send in postcards, and I will do my best to remember to feature them in the live streams. So yep. Okay, now I think I'm mostly done. I don't think I've forgotten anything else. It was meant to arrive for my birthday? Wow, post really didn't hurry. Oh wow, yeah, true. Huh. Oh well. I'm glad it's here. It's lovely. So, okay, now I think I'm done for real. I don't think I've forgotten anything. Okay, so again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an excellent weekend. Make sure to check out Otto's channel, and there's a Discord that you can hang out with us. The link is also in the description. There's the PO box in the description. There's all sorts of links in the description if you want to check that out. And aside from that, I hope you have an excellent weekend. And if you have pets, go give them hugs. And I'm gonna go rub some cat belly. Bye bye, guys. Take care.